What's up, Phoenix fam? Do I like that? I don't know if I like that. You guys help me decide down below. It sounds kind of tacky, I'm not sure. What I'm doing right now is packing up just a few orders before I head out on a sweet resale ride today to Louisville, Kentucky. I'm really stoked about that. Gonna be hitting up some pawns, some video game stores. Just got 4 things that need to go out the door before that point, and then we can get on the road. Done. Let's go to Louisville. So some of the items that I'm going to be looking out for most today include like handhelds, especially Nintendo. DS Lites are still really high. 3DSs, most of them are still going for close to 200, which is really spiked. Most PlayStation 3 consoles, the buy box is still over $200 on Amazon, so I'm going to be looking for those. Some Wii systems would be great as well. I have a few copies of Wii Sports and one Wii Sports Resort that I would love to pair with a console, so it'd be nice to find some of those. And then obviously, we're always going to be looking for those games. Pawn shops, at least in my area, have had more stock than they did like a few months ago, so I'm cautiously optimistic about what we're going to find there. I think more and more people are selling off their stuff to pawn shops to pay bills and stuff like that. So we're gonna cross our fingers and hopefully we can find some deals. All right, you guys wanna get really meta with me here for a second? Check this out. I'm here, I pulled off onto a rest stop so that I could tune into the premiere of my Switch finale video, which I am watching right now. Yeah, we use our thinking caps here at Phoenix Resale. 10:18, first stop of the day. Game exchange, let's get it.
But I can take everything else.
Cool.
And I'm at $27.73 in store credit or $20.50 cash.
Okay, I'll do the store credit.
Okay.
Alrighty folks, so stop number 1 was definitely a success. Got some really cool items in this game exchange. Also made a good connection with the manager. His name's John. Asked me if I was a reseller and I was like, yep, I sure am. And he was just asking me if there are any like certain accessories or controllers or anything like that that they may have in bulk that we could maybe work a deal on. So stay tuned in the future. I gave him my number and told him, hey, if you like ever have just a large excess of product, let me know and maybe we can work out a bulk deal. So maybe that will end up going down in the future. But what I got today was a few games here. One thing that I learned at this stop, oh, by the way, I got $22 for that bag of trade-in, which I was pretty happy with, especially for rejects from another video game store. But one thing that I learned at this location is actually the asking rule to, like, you know, normally at yard sales, I'll try to ask for video games for them to bring it out. Apparently the asking rule applies also at video game stores, because all of their games are not necessarily going to be displayed. I asked if you had any Pokemon DS games, because that's a big BOLO right now. A lot of those games are really spiked. This was not in the case, but I got another copy of Pokemon Ranger, Shadows of Almia. This was $18. I just sold one this last week for $64. So excellent find here, and was not out in the case. It probably would have been snatched up if it was. This is a new BOLO for you guys, fitness boxing. I talked about Zumba on the Xbox One not long ago in one of my last videos. Fitness games are big right now, people. Folks are just looking for ways to exercise indoors. I paid $23 for this, and it should go for about $40 after fees on Amazon. NFL Street 3 Unleashed. This is one that I've sold multiple times for the PSP. Picked that up for 10, a little bit of slow seller, but should be able to get 20 for it. And then got multiple Skylanders games on the Xbox as well. So I paid 5 a piece on these. They are a bit of slower sellers. I feel a little bit bad having pushed these so hard on this channel. I hope that they're not just sitting for folks, but they do move well for me over time, and I should get in the neighborhood of 20 a piece or so on those. But the two most exciting things that I got from this stop was, one, a really nice condition Nintendo Switch Lite for $170. This I'm actually going to use to hopefully do another Switch Lite trade. I haven't done one of those in a couple months, so I figured this is not a bad price to pick one up for, and if I can get around $300 to $350 worth of other video game stuff in a trade, then, you know, that's gonna be what I'm shooting for with this. But the find of the stop, which I am most excited for because I have never found one of these before, and honestly, before seeing it, I didn't know that it existed, is this. Blue Fire Emblem Edition, limited edition 3DS console in beautiful shape, sold for $95, which is the standard price of 3DSs at Game Exchange. I've mentioned before, special edition handhelds and consoles are huge things to look out for at these locations. Look at that. I mean, just beautiful condition. Can't believe that I got this for standard price. I looked on eBay because at first I couldn't find it on Amazon, and they were going, there were some solds for 150 on up. Doesn't sell very often. This is a more niche item, but eventually I did find it on Amazon. The lowest asking price before fees and stuff was $268, and there are no FBA offerings. So if I send this into FBA, I'm pretty confident that even if I'm around the $300 range, I will probably be able to sell that fairly quick, even though the sales rank is really high. So just a really cool find here and a great way to start the day off here at Game Exchange. So let's go get some more. Stop number 2, baby, let's go. All right, so Half Price Books is in the books, and actually, whoa. I'm still getting used to this new tripod here, which I'm really stoked about. It's a super nice, check this out, it's so bendy. Can you see that? That's the leg of the tripod. But I am still getting used to it, so you guys may need to bear with me a little bit. Hopefully this picture looks okay because I cannot actually see it until afterwards. But anyway, check this out. So these are 3 Skylanders portals for the Xbox One. Now, I've talked a lot about Skylanders figures and games for recent systems, but portals sell well also, at least on Amazon. I can't say for eBay for sure. The way that you can tell is you look underneath here, if that's focusing, I'm not sure, and it will say what console it's for. It won't say what game it is for. That's one thing I'm gonna have to look up the model number on here to figure out what game it's for, but all of them on the Xbox One go for good money. We're talking like 50, Corona. We're talking like $50+ a piece on these guys, and they were on clearance for $2 a piece. Some of them will sell faster than others, but I'm really happy. This is a solid come up for $6. We're looking at conservatively $100+ in profit there, so fantastic score. Didn't get any games in there because most of the games were not only priced competitively with Amazon, but were above Amazon prices, so not really sure how they're able to get by with that business model, but more power to them, and I'm happy that I was able to come out with these guys. The moral of this story is just diversify the kind of items that you are knowledgeable about, that you're able to look for, because it can end up paying off when you least expect it. So let's head to the next one. Next up, Mr. Money. All right, got a couple small finds at Mr. Money there. One is WWE 2K14 on the 360. It is complete, and the disc is in decent shape. Paid $2 for this, should go for like 14 or so after fees. And then I paid $10 for this Xbox One Connect sensor. This, I believe, should bring like in the neighborhood of 40 to 50, so a solid margin there. And as I look at this sensor, it does need a bit of a cleaning, but all I see is lunch money. Well, friends, I have gorged myself on cheap fast food like a ravenous hog, and now it's time to make some more money. Alrighty, well, another pretty good stop there at Cash America. Got a few things. You guys probably saw that like $5 bin. There were some controllers in there. I passed on those. There was a nice PS3 one, except it had the thumb pad removed. Probably could have gotten like 15 or 20, but for $5 I decided not to mess with it. They did also have a 50-cent bin for remotes and stuff, so I picked up a few things from that bin. Got this Nikon battery charger pack with a battery in there. Thought for 50 cents, why not? Also a few remotes, a Maxwell, a Curtis, and then a Sony. I didn't actually look these up for 50 cents, I just threw them in. And hopefully they'll be worth, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe even 20 on some of them. Some of them won't be worth anything, I fully expect that. Also got this $40 Nintendo DS Lite. It's in pretty good shape, especially the inside is really clean. Definitely enough to sell in very good condition. Does have even the battery, or sorry, the GBA slot cover in there. So that's nice for $40. And then the big purchase was another one of these Thrustmaster wheels along with the brake pedal and everything. They had this marked at $60, got them down to 48 on it, and I should be able to get in the neighborhood of like $100, maybe a little bit more for it through FBA. It does have the clamp missing down here, so I'll have to buy one of those and send it in once it arrives, but on the whole, not a bad stop. All right, update. Actually ended up taking the wheel back because I just didn't want to deal with, especially a bulky item, buying a part, not having the best margins, so I just returned it. They do have a 24-hour return policy. At first, she tried to tell me that I couldn't do it because I didn't get the warranty, but I was like, no, Cash America, you've got, I've done returns here within 24 hours before, and she did process it for me. So if you guys ever have the same need, I believe that's a nationwide policy. I would check with them before actually purchasing something just to be on the safe side, but I've got about 4 hours left before pawn shops and video game stores start to close, so I'm gonna keep going. Another one. No dice at that place either. They had a 3DS in there that I was kind of excited about, a red one for $65, which would have been great, except the thumb pad was missing, and I definitely can't sell it in very good condition if it doesn't have a thumb pad, so had to pass on it. Game selection was minimal. Kind of the story of the day, if I'm being honest. We've gotten a total of, what, 1 game so far? Oh, except at Game Exchange, so shout out to Game Exchange. I'll go to 1 more of those before the end of the day, but for now, I'm gonna keep on trucking with these pawn shops and cross cross my fingers, I guess. Heading into Cash America 6 or whatever it is. Fingers crossed. Have to admit, pawn shop game has been a little bit slower than I really like today, but I did want to let you guys know how I've been planning my routes. This is an app that I really like called Map Marker. Not sponsored or anything, because, well, I'm a tiny channel, but yeah, this thing is super helpful. So right on this map of Louisville, I've got all of the pawn shops and video game stores and even some retail stores that I've been to before, all marked and color coded according to where they are, and it also will let me like put notes in. So for example, Berkeley Jewelry and Pawn, I wrote that they have no games, and then when I go back to this city later on, I can look and see based on the color which ones were good and which ones were bad, and it helps me plan my routes much more effectively. So this one tip on its own is worth the cost of admission, folks. Don't sleep on Map Marker. Also, while I'm at it, here's a question of the day for you guys to brighten my slowish day right now. What is the best find that you have had within the last month or so at a pawn shop, video game store, or thrift store? I would love to hear about it, whether it's for a collection or to flip online. I'd love to hear your sweetest pickup story in recent memory. Let me know. Well, folks, I believe this is going to be the last pawn shop of the day. It's called Uncle Milty's Pawn Shop, in business since 1950. I have had some decent deals go down here in the past. We'll have to see what their stock looks like this time. I think last time I was in town, they didn't have all that much, so let's go check it out. Well, folks, Uncle Milty's came in clutch for me today. You saw they had a really nice selection, actually, of video game stuff, and some of it I was able to pull the trigger on because it was a little underpriced. So the first couple games that I got, did not expect to find much N64 stuff today, but I did get Mario 64 for $27. That one's a smaller profit, should go for like $38 after fees. And then WWF No Mercy is going for like 40 bucks right now, so $6 on that is really solid. Be on the lookout for this guy at pawn shops, because they almost always sleep on sports titles. This nice condition PS2 with a couple memory cards and an OEM controller. It is the slim version. They wanted 70 and we ended up settling on 50 bucks for that, so I'm happy with that. Then I got a PlayStation 3 in decent condition, needs to be cleaned up. Doesn't have the controller, so they wanted 60 on it and we ended up settling on 45 bucks. Even if I have to spend like 30 or so on a controller for it, I'm fine with that. I'll make plenty of money on that guy. So definitely a nice pick-me-up in the middle of the afternoon here. Ooh, it's starting to rain on me a little bit. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to go directly to Game Exchange next, or if I'm gonna go, there was like an independent bookstore that I may actually try out first, because I do know they have video game stuff, so I may give them a call and we'll see where I head to next. Hey there, I was just wondering if you guys have just retro games, or if you have other video game stuff as well.
We have modern and retro.
Okay, great. And do you have any consoles in stock at the moment?
Yeah, we do. Sorry, it'll be just 1 second, guys.
No problem.
We've got a PS3, a Super Nintendo Classic, a Wii, a Nintendo New 3DS XL. We've got a GameCube, we've got a Game Boy Advance, and an original Nintendo.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'll be in a bit later.
Alrighty, take care.
All right, bye. Well, that settles it, folks. We are heading to the indie bookstore, which, depending on their prices, could be some solid potential there. So let's find out together. This place is really cool. Check it out. Well, that place was without question the coolest store of the day. As you guys saw, just tons of cool inventory, fantastic shelves, almost all of it in really solid condition. Unfortunately, their pricing was pretty much airtight. Not a whole lot of wiggle room. In fact, I'm pretty sure the way that they price their games is they look it up on Amazon and then price just a couple dollars lower, which is a great model for a store like that. I definitely respect that. But I only was able to come away with 2 slip-ups. The first one, Head Coach 09. You guys know, hashtag IFKYK on that one. And then this one is for the collection, Broken Age limited run for the Switch, number 16, so it's an early one, which is good. $40 on this. The lowest copy in new condition on Amazon was going for like 60 something after fees. I am gonna keep this one for the collection, but I was all right with this price tag because I think at that price point it's a little bit undervalued. So that's kind of fun to have a collection pick up today. It's going to be a little bit hard, honestly, for me to let go of that Fire Emblem 3DS because that blue is just so pretty, but that profit margin is also pretty beautiful as well. I think the next stop is going to be Game Exchange, maybe a Walmart or 2 before we head back, but yeah, let's hit it. Fingers crossed, everyone. Time to get some money. Well, folks, another successful Game Exchange stop in the books. I'm excited to show you guys what I picked up at this location because most of it is kind of new. So we did get a couple more portals, another Skylanders game. You guys know all about that. This one, I believe, is a Swap Force portal for older gen. I paid $9 and it should go for like $19. This is another Xbox One that should do really well. This Pokemon Conquest, paid like $23 for that, and the lowest FBA offer on Amazon right now is at 70 something. So I'm hoping that this goes for around that. That would be a really great find if that's the case. So keep an eye out for this little guy. Michael Jackson The Experience, the Walmart exclusive version. I think I've talked about this before. Paid $15 on it, and I think it should go, sometimes will sell for me for over $50, so keep an eye out for that one as well. That's just on Amazon, though I wouldn't guess it goes for as much on eBay. Then this is a new BOLO for you guys, actually. I paid $5 a piece for Ken Griffey Jr. Major League Baseball on the N64. Those are going for around $11 a piece on Amazon right now. Just need to clean them up a little bit. So if you can snag those for cheap and you sell on Amazon, that would be worth looking into. And last but not least, I got actually a Pokemon card. I think the first ever Pokemon card pickup on this channel, if I'm not mistaken. A Rainbow Rare Reshiram and Zekrom GX, which I'm pretty excited about. It seemed in pretty good shape. I don't believe this one would really be worth grading. Condition is pretty good, but I just don't think it's the kind of card that you would grade necessarily. I paid $10 and comps were looking at around over 20. More than anything, I'm just trying to get a little bit more familiar with Pokemon so that in the future, maybe I can do a little bit of alternative asset investing in it. It's just a niche that I'm interested in. So I'm trying to learn a little bit more about it, pay for my education a little bit there. And I think that's going to do it for our resale ride for the day. Thanks as always for coming along. Let me know what your best find is in the comments. If you've gotten value here, I would really appreciate liking. And if you're not subscribed, to subscribe. That just makes my heart feel really warm and fuzzy. And until next time, I will catch you guys on the flip.